Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 pra caralho.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michelle Jones,
And I'm Scott Collins.
and this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in.
Deixa sua bunda ardendo.
Riff on that a little bit as far as how to get into that heart chakra, feelings and thoughts, how they play a role in it, and how they can work together or separately. What's the difference as far as what they can bring to the effectiveness, bring to the table?
That's a deep question. Thank you. Well, one of the things I would say is that one of the ways I used to describe this was that positive thinking is great. The whole concept of positive thinking, positive mindsets, it works great until the next negative feeling overwhelms it.
Yes.
Because feeling is way more powerful. It just is.
Mhm.
We all know this. There's a biochemical reality to a feeling that can be measured. I mean, we learned in the early 1990s, not through our own research at HeartMath, but it was actually a group at University of California in San Francisco that was studying the stress response and discovered that the moment we are triggered with any kind of stressful feeling, anger, apprehension, anxiety, fear, whatever it may be, we're triggered. That moment, a chain reaction of 1,400 biochemical events are set in motion. That shitty feeling you've got is a soup of 1,400 biochemicals, which if it is an actual threat to your survival, you need every one of those biochemicals to give you strength to run as fast as you can away from that threat or to have the energy to fight that threat. So there's a reason we have that. But the feeling of whatever soup it may be is very, very powerful. And so whatever positive thinking you may have been doing, like I'm powerful, I'm confident, whatever your affirmations you may be doing, I'm honoring all of it, by the way, can be overwhelmed by the next positive, powerful feeling. And so a lot of our work at HeartMath was to recognize that our bodies are constantly, moment by moment, responding to our shifting emotional state. It was back in the early 90s, 93, that we established through this heart rate variability idea, HRV, which is now in every wearable device you can think of. HRV is an important tracker. We were onto it 32 years ago, that how your heart is beating is dramatically different when you're in a stress state versus when you're in a peaceful, more loving, more compassionate state. It's chaotic when you're in a stress state. Your heart is literally beating in chaotic rhythms. You wouldn't want to hear the rhythms. They're just all over the way. When you're feeling positive feelings of appreciation, compassion, etc., your heart goes into this beautiful sine wave pattern. So now every cell in your body is receiving this beautiful wave from your heart.
Mhm.
So where I'm trying to tie all this in is that a thought's not going to do all that,
Mhm.
as the thought doesn't have the energy behind it. But it's the thought with an emotion. So the thought to appreciate turns into the emotion of appreciation.
Right.
That makes sense.
Recognition.
The
Yeah,
thought that I should be grateful right now. Why am I complaining all the time? Well, that's a good thought, but now you actually have to feel it.
Mhm.
So you practice feeling it. So you practice, okay. And of course, Dr. Joe is a big fan of this. You have to practice the positive state. You have to practice the feeling of why you want to be in your future self. You have to literally practice, because what we don't think of is that we're constantly practicing the negative self, not intending to practice, but we're with that same person that triggers us every day. There they go again. Well, you're practicing being kind of a jerk, like you need to get any better at it. But so that's sort of an off the wall way to respond to that question. But
No, it's great. Yeah. Michelle and I often talk about using the word trigger. Like when a trigger, we like to call it a prompt even.
that's good. So
Prompted with that feeling that the transformation actually happens in the response. It's okay to feel.
Absolutely.
It's okay to feel that prompt and trigger, and then your power is in the response, and that's where the mind can be helpful
Absolutely.
in recognizing and then helping you just do something different, do anything differently than you used to respond, and then that's when the change happens. There's no right or wrong really response. Just do it different. do it differently this time.
If you want a different outcome,
You want a different outcome. Yeah.
you want a different outcome, you should. If you want the same one,
You want the feedback loop.
exactly. Exactly. One of the things that I love, Bruce, about what you're talking about is that you lived these personal teachings through your own trials, right? Through your own experiences and during your health challenges, because there's a lot of people right now out there with a lot of health challenges. And I just wanted to specifically ask, how did Heart Math support your healing and your creativity during that time?
Just to update on the landscaping equipment, it's now changed to a leaf blower.
All the phases.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. I don't think they had the lawnmower yet. We went straight from the chainsaw to the hedge trimmer. And now we got the leaf blower. So we were getting kind of the whole thing. I wouldn't mind just like a soft sprinkler going on. Just, okay, all the electronics, turn them off, put it on the belt, go through security. Now it's just a slight little rain to kind of calm things down. What was your question again?
My question, my friend, was during your health challenges, how did
How did it
that
happen?
guide you? Yeah, through your, back to your creativity and into your health. Like, it's really hard sometimes when we feel like, garbage to be practicing some of this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I was 18 years into my Heart Math practice when I was diagnosed with cancer.
Ah,
So I was not a newbie.
beautiful.
I had already taught this program in one-on-one group workshops, keynotes. I think at that point about 3,000 times taught it. So it put the Fantastics 800 performances to shame. This is like, now it's like I was teaching a lot. And every time you teach, in my case, I'm not just talking the script of the technique. I'm practicing the technique. When I would do my own little thing with my Casio watch to radiate love, and then when I would teach people to do that, I'm standing there radiating love so I'm creating a field in the room of 5,000 or 20, because anything I do can make it a little easier, as we all do, for them to find it themselves, right? So, so I was well trained. So this was not new. So there were two levels. One is I was still working in the company, so I was CEO when all that went on, actually. So I had a very strong support system, and so just having the back with so many people kind of having my back, kind of thing, that was wonderful. But again, I would just say all that practice in the early years, and on the hour when the beep went off, and all those times I was leading groups of 5,000 or 5 and practicing as I was teaching, that created a tremendous foundation. So even though I was being faced with numerous situations I'd never ever encountered before. I mean, we knew I had something in my body and it was causing some really negative side effects. And then when I sat there in the doctor's office and we already knew it was a large tumor. He said, it's definitely cancer. And so it was oddly reassuring. I mean, not like totally reassuring, but it was like, because it was cancer, but we didn't know how serious, we didn't know how advanced, how rapid, all that. But so there was this foundation. So at so many times, so many points during the next 2 years, including that moment in the doctor's office when he told me, this is definitely cancer. Here's the process of what you're going to do. And I sat there realizing I'm one of those people. Never thought this would happen, but here I am. And this was a wild scenario because the doctor had Googled me before I came into his office. And I thought, how do you have time to Google every new patient? And he didn't. There was something in my medical record for some reason, some nurse previously had referred to me as Dr. Cryer in my medical record. Like, there's just, oh, Dr. Cryer presents as blah, 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 blah. So that note was seen in my doctor. He said, oh, I'm a doctor. She's treating me as a doctor for 3 months before I finally realized, how come you're asking me about where I went to medical school? I never went to medical school. What are you saying? What do you mean you're not a doctor? Like I'm the fake. No, I'm not a doctor. Why do you think I'm a doctor? Anyhow, back to this story of first hearing the news.
Yeah.
What's unfolding is there's a whole process. I had a lot of confidence in the doctor, so that was good. I felt like this guy knows what he's talking about. I feel safe with him. This is going to be a rough road, whatever it is, but I feel safe with him. And he already knew about HeartMath because he had Googled me. He already knew I was a speaker and out speaking around the world and blah, blah, blah. And at one point, I said to him, Doctor, I know I'm going to need to talk about this in the public. And I know I will have a story to tell. And if that story could help one person, I need to tell it. I'm not going to hide this. I'm not going to, oh no, I don't want anybody to know. I mean, I didn't tell the world right away. I kind of wanted to recover a little bit first, but I didn't want to freak people out unnecessarily. But that was an important thing for me. So the fact that in that moment in the doctor's office, I still had the presence to say, I will, there'll be a story to tell. I'm going to need to talk about this because it was just a natural thing. Like, I want to care for others. So whatever I'm learning from this process, I had no idea what it would be like. How could you, right? I will want to share it. And he kind of smiled and said, that's a wonderful attitude to have. And he kind of laughed, but in a very like, wow, good for you, man. And I said, well, I'm very clear. I'm at a fork in the road in the road right now. I could go either way. And I know the pole to the left-hand side is going to be what it is. There's going to be fear. There's going to be anxiety. There's going to be why me. There's going to be, and then of course, not knowing all the side effects like staph infections, repeated staph infections, and all kinds of wild stories. But that was I think, a tribute to my practice of the HeartMath techniques over all those years of being able to, even in the middle of a crisis, personal crisis, to be able to still, how do I go through this? And how do I care about others in the process?
Super, super, super powerful. I mean, I myself had a similar but different walk and handled it very differently. Was super private about it until it was kind of in the rearview mirror, because I knew that service to others would actually be helping myself.
Mhm.
And that if I could stay heart-centered in care of self and care of others and what I did and keep that balance going, that it would help me through what it was that I had to walk through in my healing journey. And, it's just not always an easy place to sit, because a lot of times our hearts really can hurt when we really don't feel well. That's really, so just taking that conscious practice, and just the attention, setting the alarm, on the phone, and just breathing from the heart, feeling the heart, entering into that heart space, strengthening the toroidal field, that's like around us, our auric, all of that can just magnify
Exactly.
and strengthen us from within at a cellular level in such profound, profound ways. Yeah, this is very, 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 very important stuff, because one of the things Scott and I have spoken about a lot, Bruce, has been there's this real shift in the collective consciousness from being super heady to really wanting to balance the head and the heart more.
Mhm.
There's and I thank millennials for coming to the planet, that were raised by boomers, really to be an awareness of their feelings more so, and of course, unfortunately, have been shamed a bit by others that have said things like, oh, they're so emotional, or oh, they're snowflakes, or whatever the criticism has been. I feel like I know for me as a Gen Xer, when I'm with a millennial, my heart has a different focus than it does when I'm generationally. Like I have been in awareness of the younger the person I'm working with, the more heart centered I tend to be. Because I want to be a sacred mirror for them. And I feel like Gen X, like we're the bridge, right? Like we're kind of the steel, like, like holding it all together from like the bridge of the generation of the boomers that, like y'all had to come and change the culture, right? Like you had to really change the culture. And I feel like Xers had to kind of take those changes and make them our own relationally, work wise. And these incredible millennials that came after us, they're killing it. And it's because they came from parents who started to shift collective consciousness in their own consciousness and their own hearts. And so to be seeing these millennials parenting these alphas that are showing up now with this wisdom of like, yes, I was an African king. And you're talking to a 7-year-old. And, you know, there is definitely a process. And I think that it's emanating from the heart, the expansion on the planet. I think that's why sometimes the darkness looks so ugly, is because there's so much light right now shaking it out. And I've said on, I think on here before, Scott, I know you and I have said this, but I'm not afraid of people that are dark and light, because that's what we are, right? That's what we are. I'm afraid of people that think that they have no darkness,
Mhm.
and have some very heady, disconnected rationale for that, completely removed from the heart and the soul, you know? And I definitely, if you would ever come back and talk to us about heart and soul, we would love to. It's the only thing I can play on the piano.
Huey Lewis?
Whoa, isn't heart
Huey
and
Lewis
soul
and
like the dun 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 dun? Isn't it that? My grandma, did she teach me it wrong? What? That's-
Probably.
she probably taught me wrong. I'd have to call my dad after this. I'd be like, we do. Yeah, maybe it was chopsticks. Maybe I'm confusing it, but yeah,
It sounds more like
Oh.
chopsticks, but
the chopsticks is probably that. But there was something heart and soul. Maybe she used to sing that to me. I'll do a little research on that. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued by that, because one of the things that we really have dialogued about is that the soul is housing the body, right? Like the soul is housing the body. And I would love to, when we have more time with you, to talk about the heart and the soul in terms of the eternal kind of quantum field in the consciousness, and where that goes when one gives up the worm food, right? The meat suit. So, that's just something that, to me, is just the next kind of evolution, of, because people are starting to really talk about some interesting things about consciousness and science and spirituality are connecting a bit more.
Totally. Well, I think to your point of praising the millennials, because they all started going to retreats in Costa Rica, and not just in Costa Rica, but retreats became such an incredible thing. And I'm not just talking about plant medicine retreats, although there was
Right.
that, but all the rituals, all the dance things, all the
Absolutely.
things to get in, all the breathwork things. There's a massive explosion of that over the last couple of decades that opened up consciousness in all kinds of ways. And some of it was really heart based, and it definitely was not all heart based. A lot of it was very much feeding ego and feeding vanities and whatnot. And there's way too many influencers that, I mean, one of my favorite memes on Instagram was there's two accounts. One's called Dude with Sign, and the other is called Dudette with Sign. And it's just a picture of a guy standing somewhere in Brooklyn. And all those memes are that. And then there's another set of a girl. They're both attractive people just holding up a big sign. One of my favorite signs ever was from the guy, Dude with Sign. You don't have to post every time you do a cold plunge. I thought, thank you. It's like, that's become the badge of honor. Like, here I am again at my 4 a.m. cold plunge in the ice tub. And like every week, there's a reel of me at the cold plunge. Okay, you're a fanatic. Great, we got it. Okay. But I guess my point being is it doesn't have to be a show. And so much of the spiritual side can become a show. Look who I am. Look, I am a breath teacher, and I've actually been to one workshop. Like, okay, where do you have the credibility? So anyway, I guess my point was simply that we're in an interesting time where there has been a tremendous amount of expansion, a tremendous amount of more light coming in to us as beings, to the planet, to all of us, no matter where we are in our own journey. And I think what you said is accurate, Michelle, that it's illuminating the darkness, but also the darkness is intensifying. The darkness is holding on more than ever. The darkness is getting darker because it doesn't want to be. It isn't of the light. It doesn't want the light. So it's digging in its heels. It's being more destructive. It's being more violent, more cruel. So, but I also love what you said, Michelle, about where we are all dark and light. We're made of all of it, because I think many people on a spiritual path get into the spiritual bypassing aspect, meaning they think they don't have those problems. Yeah. So they just go and meditate instead of facing something real in their life. They'll just go meditate, or they'll go on a juice cleanse, or they'll go on a silent retreat. Not that any of them are bad. They all have value.
Merit, right.
But they're doing it instead of doing some tougher work of facing some narcissism in oneself, or vanity in oneself, or divisiveness in oneself. And so I think we have more than enough light inside us to handle that, but it doesn't feel that way a lot of times.
Absolutely. So we typically do a lightning round of questions, Bruce, before we close. And so this isn't something that like you have to go super, super deep with. My brother Scott,
are there points involved? Any prizes? Anything at all? Is there any motivation for me to actually do this?
The motivation for you to do this would be it might expand your heart.
Whoa. Okay. Got me there. How could I possibly?
We know how to get you. We know the hook now, Bruce.
No, I now know just how manipulative you actually.
I'm a good 11-degree Cancerian. Yep.
I'm full on Cancerian, so I don't know what to tell you.
All right, Scott, you want to begin, my brother?
Sure. All right. What daily practice helps you return to coherence?
I created a technique called Wave of Relief, which is based on the sigh of relief concept. But the idea is just let go of anything, any energy in me of anxiety, fear, anger, you name it. The letting go of that. And the letting go makes it so much easier to get into coherence.
Beautiful.
Wave of relief. It's a beautiful practice.
Thank you. Okay, Bruce, what message would you put on a billboard for the world to see that's not, I did my 4,215th cold plunge?
There should be a ticker where like it's counting the number of cold plunges being done in Nashville. You could just Nashville. You don't have to do the entire country. Nashville, up to 185 million cold plunges as of this morning. The phrase "love is never wasted."
Wow.
Love is never
Beautiful.
wasted.
Amen. Amen.
If I could expand on that, or is this not within the framework?
Please do. Nope.
Yeah.
As many points as you can rack up, Bruce. Let's do this.
Okay. So I this is a recent thought that many people are uncomfortable with the concept of self-love because it feels selfish. It feels like, whoa. Self-love, or it's kind of weird, whatever. And now we got the cats. Now the cats are meowing in the background. And based on science, we know that anytime you are in any loving vibe towards anything, a cat, the landscapers, the sunshine, the people that you love most in your life, that act of loving anything is changing you biochemically. It's changing your brain waves. It's changing the actual functioning of your heart. Every cell in your body is getting bathed in an internal bath of all the right waves and biochemistry that you would want for health and vitality. How better could I describe self-love? You don't have to be focused on yourself to be doing self-love. Anytime you are loving, you are experiencing the love that you are loving with. I think
I tell you.
I'm tired. I just said.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, Bruce.
Nailed it.
Like that. I just want to be like, all right, there's nothing else to say. Bye. Thanks for listening. Like, that's it. We're out. We can't do better. That's it. Really, mic drop. I mean, that we've been trying to talk about loving yourself and loving yourself some more. Like, giving yourself that extra, like, serving of it, because then of what you bring forward out into the world is going to be so incredibly, beautifully directed, transmitting, for yourself and for others. Just imagine if we all turned our hearts on before we left the house. We went into our vault, into our sacred space in the morning, and we sit down and we say, you know what? At the top of every hour, I'm going to just like breathe in for 5 seconds. I'm going to breathe out for 5 seconds. I'm going to breathe in for 5. I'm going to breathe out. You guys are the breath experts. I am far from it. And feeling our heart and just doing that, commit yourself to just do that morning, noon, night, almost like you would do like a prayer. It's incredible how it can change your life. Scott gave me the reminder last week because I said to him, I was like, my brother, I need help because my breath I know is really shallow and, had been through some stressful experiences. And it was just having the dialogue, calling it to consciousness, calling it to awareness. And I know that I feel better. I'm thinking more clearly. Just because I'm breathing better.
Yeah.
Better. Not there yet, but
Matters.
in process.
Well, there's not a there to be, Michelle. It's not like you arrive now. Everything's just easy peasy from that point on. It's more like you do it. That's the there. The fact that you are where you are is the there that you want to be. And then, but you want to keep growing. That's the gift of being human. We get to keep growing. We get to keep creating. Like Scott and I were talking about at the beginning, that insight hit me finally about 7 or 8 years ago and why I came up with the term Renaissance human, which was a twist on Renaissance man. People were calling me a Renaissance man after I got through the cancer and all that other stuff and was starting to sing again and dance again. It's like, dude, you're like a Renaissance man. You're doing all this creative stuff. We never knew you even did that. And you dodged a couple of life-threatening bullets. And I heard it enough times. I pondered it, and I thought, well, that's an old fashioned term. Also, I don't want to just be, it's old fashioned in a certain way. And one day the term Renaissance human occurred to me. I thought, oh, that sounds really different. That sounds a lot better. It sounds more future oriented somehow. It's like I'm becoming a future version, but it's respecting all the multiplicity of life, the multi passions that we can have as humans. And I kept pondering that. I thought, this is my word. No one's ever used this before, and so I get to define it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what do I want it? What do I want it to mean? And I thought, well, this was a big part of it, that we as humans, because we have this innate embedded in our DNA, in our personality, in our soul structure, the ability to create life and therefore to recreate our own life, we have this remarkable gift that I don't think other species have, where we get to keep learning and keep growing and keep changing. I don't see other species walking around learning new languages or learning new and not putting down the other species. They're all here for all the reasons they're here. But we have this unique gift. We get to keep growing. Most people don't see it that way. Not at all. It's like the growing part is when you're young, and then you kind of slide into adulthood and it gets tense and more responsibilities. And then you start getting old, feeling older. And then it's, well, it's too late now. It's this kind of gradual descent into decrepitude. Lovely picture, isn't it? But in reality, to me, it's completely the opposite of that. When I had my biological age done a few years ago, and it was 31 years younger than my birth age. And I asked it, and I hadn't even known I was having the test done. I was just like in a lab, and then they did something and they said, oh, here's your biological age. I said, oh my God, you just made my year. This is amazing. And I asked the guy, what do you normally see? He said, I've never seen anything more than 20 years, and yours is 31. I thought, okay, I guess I'm onto something here.
Yes.
And I love the Renaissance human and that self-love wizardry of how it allows us, not only enables us to accept, but embrace our authenticity and uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that's really what the universe wants us to be, as specifically authentic and unique as we are.
As we are designed to be.
We are designed to be as we are already. And just like embrace it and step into it. We don't have to like go seek it. Just be like you were talking about.
Exactly.
Last one. What's one way someone can bring more heart into a conversation today?
Slow down and really try to listen through the experience of the other person. Try to feel into what is that person feeling. And the best way to do that is with your heart. Open your heart to truly feel the other person and listen to them from that state.
Yeah. Another mic dropper.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Because when we align our heart, like with our actions, right? We live in coherence, and then all of a sudden there's resilience, there's joy, there's like all these good things that just like start popping up, like just flowers, just blossoming and blooming, because you're aligning with the most powerful part of you, the heart. Yeah. Wow. Bruce, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If ever there were a time that we needed some heart centering, 9/11 in America is definitely a time when we're recording this that we need to center around our hearts and sending love and sending prayer and sending hope and sending as much of the good stuff out there as we can. And with that, my brother, you want to leave us with some loving affirmations from your beautiful heart, my brother, from another mother.
Got it.
Thank you, sir.
I am flowing with unlimited creativity. My life is art. My creativity heals myself and others. My feelings bring me wisdom and information. My heart emanates with unpenetrable love.
Thank you all so much for being with us, for listening, for sharing time and space with us. Stay empowered, and most importantly, stay loving. Peace be with you. Thank you now. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.